What's up, everybody? It's another day above ground, another day of dealing with this pandemic. So I guess if you were watching this and you're maintaining, then that means you're doing pretty good. You're surviving, this ordeal that we're going through. Got a couple of things that I want to talk about today. Not going to be long. And what I want to drop on you guys is my take on this whole praise of the essential workers. And a lot of the things that you've been seeing in the news as it pertains to essential workers have been, the praise of the doctors, the scientists, as well as the nurses. And do they deserve praise? Yes, they do. But being an essential worker does not just comprise of those three segments as far as occupations are concerned that I just mentioned. There are a whole list of people who would be considered essential workers. There are jobs or occupations that are out there that are considered to be non-essential, but that only depends on how you look at it, how you view it. To the people who are working those jobs that we consider to be non-essential, well, to them, that's an essential job because it provides them with pay and it allows them to, pay their bills or put food on the table. Then you have those people who shop at these places that patronize these particular businesses. And, even though they may not be considered essential jobs or businesses, the people who patronize those particular establishments, they consider those to be essential. So I guess it depends on your take as far as how you choose to define what is essential and what is non-essential. But that's what this video is going to be dealing with. It's going to be dealing with two things. And that would be essential jobs, but not so much as the things that they've been talking about on the news, but the essential jobs as it pertains to what we would call blue collar workers. And at the same time, we're going to talk about the food crisis or food shortage, which all of this ties into, the topic of essential workers. So the reason why this conversation is coming about is because of an article that I read earlier this week. I think it was Sunday, and I think the date for Sunday that just passed was the 26th of April. And in that article, I can't remember the news source, but in that article, it was talking about one of the Smithfield plants, which this is happening with all of the Smithfield plants. And what they're doing is they're giving out incentives, I think like $500 to the workers that, to try to keep the workers working so that they can produce these goods. But in the article that I read, which was pertaining to the Smithfield plant here in North Carolina, more specifically in Tar Heel, North Carolina, they are offering an incentive of an extra $5 an hour as well as $500. And in that article, if I'm not misquoting the article, there was a time period from the time that the article was put out or when they decided to come up with this new way of doing things as far as trying to keep these workers in the plant and keep them working, that this will last, or this will go on up until sometime in May, and then from May up until July. And I guess that's when the incentive will, be taken away, or they will increase it, or it will be extended. But either way it goes, their job is to try to keep these people in these plants and keep them working. And the reason why they're having problems with doing that is because a lot of the workers at these facilities, or at this particular facility, they're looking at it like, okay, we don't mind working, but you have to provide us with the protection that we need. Because in that article, I think they had about 200 some people that were infected with COVID-19. Now, they didn't list as far as from what I read. And, if they did list it, maybe I overlooked that. But I haven't read, or they haven't reported any deaths from this particular facility as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Now I have a relative that works at this particular, well, I have two relatives that work at this particular facility. And one of my relatives found out that their significant other tested positive for COVID-19. Now, their significant other has been dealing with, some medical issues for a while. And they recently went, I guess, to the emergency room, or they went to their primary doctor and found out that they had COVID-19. So we don't know if my relative that works at this plant was infected and brought that home and infected his significant other. She's doing fine now, as far as I know. With him and the rest of the members that were in that household, they now have to get tested to see if, they have COVID-19, or if they are a carrier of COVID-19 and they may be asymptomatic. But this is just one example of what's going on at this facility and many Smithfield facilities and other facilities of this nature around this nation. And this is the reason why you're having the food shortage or food crisis. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about essential workers is because these are what we would consider to be blue collar workers, but it's the blue collar worker that makes this nation run. It is the people that you don't hear about. It is the people that have these jobs, these occupations that do not carry a, how can I say it? Their occupation or job title does not carry prestige. It is not a title that when you mention it, when you hear it, that, it has all of these oohs and ahs. It's like, okay, wow, this is the job that you're doing. That's not what this is. With these types of jobs, they are jobs usually that people do not want to work. They are jobs that some people are ashamed of, but nonetheless, it is a job and it provides income and it provides them with some type of security as far as being able to take care of themselves in the society that we live in. So that was the reason why I wanted to do this video, because these people deserve praise just as much as the nurses, the doctors, the scientists, or any other worker that we would consider to be an essential worker whose title carries a lot of prestige behind it. And, they deserve that praise as well. They also deserve our support, because what you're seeing now is in some places, and I heard this on the news this morning, that some people are not allowed to quit their job, or not allowed to stay out from their job, I should say. And if they do, they could run the risk of losing their job. And that is the ultimatum that they're giving to these people, which I think is, that's just straight up bullshit. You're asking them to choose between staying alive and staying safe and not subjugating their relatives or loved ones, family members, friends to an illness that can make you sick and ultimately take your life, because you want to boost the economy, because now the nation is suffering on an economic level. And I think that is just crazy. You can replace those goods, but you cannot replace a life. And the sad thing about this is, and the horrific thing about it is, and the evil thing about this is that if these people die because they had to make a choice between contracting COVID-19 and being able to take care of themselves, provide a source of income for their family so that they can survive, you're putting them in a situation to where you already know what a lot of them are going to choose, because this is the only source of income that they have. They don't have any other skills. They don't have degrees and things of that nature. And what they're thinking about is, I'll put my life on the line if it means my family survives. But at the end of the day, these same companies that employ these people If you die, you're just another number to them. They can easily go to their list of applications, hire someone else to take your place because that's what's going to happen. And it's business as usual. These people don't give a damn about you or your well-being, because if they did, they could implement protocols that would protect the workers, to ensure that these workers are protected, to ensure that you will be allowed to do your job and not really worry about being infected or passing something along to your friends, to your family. So this is the way things should operate, but this is the climate of this country. This is the way it has always been in this country. The only thing that matters to these people is that, one, they make money. Two, they control the masses of the people. And three, if you speak out against an injustice, you get marginalized, you get criticized, you get ostracized. Sometimes it could even lead to your death. And with that being said, that's one of the reasons why, with the things that I do and the organizations that I'm a part of, that's why you never hear me talk about my family members. That's why you never hear me mention their names. That's why I don't post any pictures and things of that nature of the people that I care about that are in my family. Sometimes I want to do those things too. Sometimes I want to post things to my social media site because I'm like, I have family members. I love them dearly, but I don't post stuff like that because I know the things that I do, the things that I say, as far as the things that I post on my social media platforms, it could lead to my death. It could also lead to incarceration, because when you have people that speak out against an injustice, see, then you start to go to the core of what this country is about. And it's about two things. It's about money and power. And anytime that is threatened, then these people go to work to try to silence you. So that's the reason why I don't post anything as far as my family members are concerned. And I've been doing this work now for damn near 30 some years. Before there was social media, before YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, before any of this shit was popular, I've been putting in work. So I'm not one of those people who, you know, are looking for the glamour, the glitz, the notification, the likes. I have 1,000 people who are on my platforms that are giving me the thumbs up. I'm not looking for that. I don't post stuff to get likes. I post things to make you think. I post things so that maybe there's some people out there of like mind that are willing to come together to do the fucking work. So far, I haven't met those people as far as, you know, on these social media platforms. Am I working with some people that are into what I'm into and are trying to make a change to build something better in this world, in this nation, especially for black people? Yes, I am. I'm not going to call those groups out. Some of you already know the two groups that I'm in. But, you know, that's the way this shit goes when you're dealing with this particular country. And dealing with those essential workers as it pertains to what I'm talking about now, this is the reason why you're having the food crisis or the food shortage. Because if these plants do not provide the protection that they need to the employees that are doing the job so that they can put these goods out, then you're not going to have those goods in your grocery stores. And that's a no-brainer. And so you're seeing that happen around this nation now as they're talking about this. You can go in some grocery stores now and you're starting to see a limited supply of certain items. When this thing first hit in this country and it escalated the way that it did, as fast as it did, according to the reports that were coming out, there were things that people were buying, but they were not necessarily essential items. One of the things that, you know, people were buying were toilet tissue, gloves, and I think wipes, like sanitary wipes, things of that nature. to clean, your hands so that you wouldn't have any germs and all that shit. But the one thing in particular that people were buying the most of was toilet tissue. And that was hilarious because with all of the tissue that a lot of these people bought, a lot of you don't even use the bathroom like that. A lot of you are strictly meat eaters with very little vegetation in your diet. Vegetation provides fiber. That helps to add bulk to your stool. It also regulates your stool. A lot of you don't drink water like that, so your anal canal is not lubricated. You're not using the bathroom like that. Some people go to the bathroom once every 2 or 3 days. Some people go to the bathroom once a week. Some people go to the bathroom maybe twice every 2 weeks. Some people may go to the bathroom once a month. I recently had a conversation, well, it wasn't recently, it was a couple of years back, with a lady that I knew. And we were talking about health. And, she was going through some issues. So we got to talking about, elimination. And she was like, I only use the bathroom like once a month. I was like, yo, that is not healthy. You're supposed to have a bowel movement for every meal that you eat. And you're only using the bathroom once a month. And so when you look at situations like that, there are plenty of people who are dealing with illnesses. Now, when we move into this whole thing of this crisis that we're dealing with, and the people who are working in these facilities that are working under dire circumstances, a lot of these people who are working in these facilities have underlying issues. And now, with the reports that they've put out in the past couple of weeks about this virus in this country, as far as who it is now infecting and affecting the most, is black people, people that look like me, people who are of African ancestry, people who are of what we would call Native American ancestry. And when I say Native American, you have two types of Native Americans. You have the ones that we call Indians, and then you have the ones that we call black people. We were here as well. We were already here even before those people that they call Indians were over here. So it is affecting those people that look like me, as well as brown people as well. But the face of COVID-19, as far as who it is infecting the most, are the people that look like me. So now, when you look at that particular dynamic, and you're looking at the underlying conditions that a lot of African Americans or black people suffer with in this country, we're going to be the first ones to get sick. We're going to be the first ones to die. We're going to be the first ones to lose our life. We're going to be the first ones to lose the job, lose the income, lose the things that we worked all of these years to obtain. All of that is going to be for nothing. So do not let these people gas you up to basically kill yourself. And even if you survive this thing, a lot of people, from what I've heard and from some reports that have come out, a lot of people are being scarred from COVID-19. A lot of people who have beaten the illness, they still are scarred from it. There's still some ramifications from being infected with this shit. So you don't want to get it all together. But we're going to be the ones that are going to suffer the most, because we are the poorest people in this nation. We're always the last hired, the first fired. We have not been given any praise for shit. We're always viewed as the worst of the worst. When it comes to all of the races that are here in this country, people always view us like we are disposable. And a lot of the people who work in these facilities, a lot of them are black people. And so basically what they're telling you with the statement that I just made, that's like a reality. That's like fact. They don't give a shit about you. Even with them opening the businesses back up, they're going to be people who are going to get infected. They're going to be people that are going to survive. They're going to be people that are going to die from this shit. But now you're opening up a can of worms, and that's like a Pandora's box. You don't know what is going to come out of this shit. So with these underlying conditions that are going on within the black and brown community, you're going to see a higher death toll, a higher infection rate among those two communities. And so this thing is going to continue. It's going to have a snowball effect. And you're going to continue to see crazy shit going on in this country to the point where it's going to get so far out of control, they're not going to be able to reel this shit back in. So don't let them gas you up to lose your life. Your life is valuable. It should be valuable to you. It's valuable to the people that love you. If you have children, don't set your children up to have to go through that particular type of ordeal at an early age. I know what it's like to lose people. Over a 10-year span, and this was during the time when I came down with this illness, because I've been dealing with this illness for 10 years, well, 11 years now. Every year, I lost someone in my family. It started out with my grandmother. It went from my grandmother to a couple other relatives, and then I lost my ex-girlfriend. I lost 2 brothers. I lost my father. I lost all my uncles are dead on my dad's side as well as on my mom's side. But there was one uncle in particular from my mother's side of the family that I was close to. And, you know, we used to talk about anything and everything, but most of the things that we talked about was the situation and circumstances and the things that were going on in this country as it pertained to black people and as it pertains to how this government dealt with black people. Those losses, as far as my grandmother, my ex-girlfriend, my brothers, and my dad, they hurt me the most, to the point where I couldn't tell you the last time that I went to my father's grave or to my brother's grave. My other brother, he was cremated. But my baby brother, his death was the one that affected me the most because, you know, we were close. Even though we argued a lot because we disagreed on a lot of things, you know, growing up as kids, we were always together. He always wanted to be up under me. He looked up to me. And so when his death happened, you know, it hurt me to my soul, to the point where I'm still scarred from this shit. And that's why I don't go to those grave sites, because it's just too painful. And they tell you that time heals. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But one thing that I can say about those situations, if it happens to you, every time you go back to those memories of that individual, no matter what that memory is, you're going to have some joy, but it's going to bring pain as well, because those people are no longer here. So you don't want to put your kids or a family member or a significant other in that situation if you can help it. We're all going to die one day, but no one, or there is no law that says you have to die a fucking premature death. So don't let these people put you in a situation to where you have to die from some shit like that. Now, how this shit is going to play out, we don't know. You know, they've been talking about things on the news for a while now. You know, they give you different reports. They come out with some information that sounds like it's true. And then, you know, when you go to other sources, other things, you're finding out that the shit that they're giving you on the mainstream news is basically bullshit as far as this virus is concerned. They'll come out telling you that, you know, the distancing that you need to stay is 6 feet, and then you go somewhere else and they're telling you something totally different. They'll tell you that this virus can survive on surfaces, certain surfaces like, I think, like steel or some type of metal and plastic for like 72 hours. But then you have this cruise ship called the Diamond Princess, where when they sent researchers on this ship to assess what was going on the ship, they found out that this virus survived for up to 17 days. Then I just looked at the news this morning where they're saying in Wuhan, in the Wuhan hospitals, that the virus is still in the fucking atmosphere inside of the hospitals. So they're dealing with something, like I said before, it's a Pandora's box. You don't know what the fuck you're going to get out of this shit. So when it comes to the so-called essential workers, as it pertains to the workers that I'm talking about, they're putting you in a position to where you're behind enemy lines and you don't know how the fuck you're going to get out. Because you're damned if you stay in it, and you're damned if you get out of it. Because one, if you stay in the shit, you run the risk of contracting this fucking virus. Two, if you get out of it, then where's your source of income? What do you do then? How do you pay your bills? How do you keep your lifestyle, whether it's a lavish lifestyle or not? How do you keep those things going? How do you feed your family? How do you pay your bills? How do you keep the things that you work so hard to obtain within your possession if you don't have any income coming in? And see, these people who are making these policies, these laws and whatnot, putting all these stipulations on people, putting these ultimatums on people, they're not the motherfuckers that are working these fucking jobs. Chances are they're probably not even around these people in large numbers. And at this particular plant in Tar Heel, this Smithfield plant in Tar Heel, there have been people that work at the plant that have shared their experience of what is going on in this facility. Some of them have shared photos to where they can't even practice the social distancing, but yet they have to work. I've also heard other reports from poultry plants, to where I think Purdue was another one in Dillon, South Carolina, where a lot of those people, I think they walked out. But these are essential workers. They don't mind doing the job, but you have to provide them with the protection that they need. And if you don't do that, then you cannot expect them to just fall for the shit that you want, hook, line, and sinker. You cannot expect that. Only a fool would do some shit like that. And it's turning out now that people are not as foolish as the government thought. People are waking up now. People are beginning to see the hypocrisy of this nation, of this government, as well as governments around the world. So the more governments begin to institute this type of mentality, meaning they're playing the villain, then with every villain, you're going to have heroes. And now those people are beginning to speak up. And with speaking truth to power, that's not a black or a white thing. That's just doing what's right. And so you're starting to see people coming from everywhere, no matter what color they are, no matter what their occupation is, they're speaking truth to power now. And they're silencing some of us, especially those of us who do this thing, this social media thing, to where we use these platforms to put out information. Sometimes our videos don't get to our followers. Sometimes they'll put your shit in a position to where it doesn't get the traffic that it needs in order to generate the views and whatnot. They're doing everything that they can to stop this message from getting out. If you're on Facebook, if you say the wrong shit, they put you in Facebook jail. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? But they're doing all of these things to where if you say something about this government and how it operates in a negative way, as far as they are concerned, they'll find a way to shut you down. They'll find a way to limit what the fuck you say, because you're putting out information that is waking up the people. So if you have a loved one that is working in a facility like this, or if you are working in a facility like this, or if you are a truck driver that delivers these goods, my hat goes off to all of y'all, because every time you walk outside of your house, you put your life at risk. That's just like right now. I'm still working. Every day that I go outside of my home and into the public to do a job, or even to go to the grocery store to pick up, items for the family and whatnot, I'm putting my life at risk. I'm putting their life at risk, because as it stands right now, no one knows how this virus is being transmitted from person to person to person. They only have speculation, but no one knows. But these essential workers that we talk about, these blue collar workers that we talk about, Those are your unsung heroes. These are the people that make this boat float. Because if they don't produce the goods, and the people that drive these automobiles, whether they're trucks, cars, whatever the case may be, that can deliver these goods from point A to point B, the economy as you know it will fail. Some of these people deliver medication that a lot of people need. Some of these people produce the foods and things that we need, the clothes that we wear on our backs, etc., etc., etc. These are the people that make the world go round, that make this nation function. And we have to give them that support. We have to back them. Whatever way you choose to back them, whether you're protesting, whatever the case may be, continue to do that. I'm not a protester, but I don't knock it. My thing is, as far as with my people, what I want us to do, I'm hoping that this virus will finally make us see what the hell is really, really going on, and that we take the necessary steps to pull our heads out of our ass and do what we're supposed to do as a people to build our own shit. We don't have an infrastructure. And then why would your enemy, a nation that has never given a damn about you, that still considers you to be 3/5 of a human being in the Constitution, and looks at us as far as a people is concerned as not even being people? We're dispendable. We are despised. We are the bottom feeders from, as far as the way as how they look at us. Why would you expect them to come to your rescue? There have been so many deaths in certain areas that they can't afford to deal with everybody. So now, if the face of COVID-19 is black people, what do you think is going to happen to us? That's why I told you guys on another video that I did that we are all we got. We have to do what we have to do to save us. So for those of us that are in the holistic community that are trying to give you information to keep you healthy, as well as find a cure for this shit, give us that support, man. Because we are essential workers as well. Because a lot of you didn't know anything about elderberry, olive leaf extract, cayenne pepper, oregano oil, ginger, lemons, limes. The list goes on and on and on and on. A lot of you didn't even know anything about how these things affect and heal the body and how it will protect the body from bacteria, viruses. There are plenty of things out there, plenty of natural substances, foods that we can ingest that will help to battle, if not stop, these things altogether. I just dropped the information on hemp seeds. A lot of people didn't even know what the fuck hemp seeds were or are. I had a cousin of mine hit me up on Facebook, and she was like, "Yo, you got my attention with the things that you're saying." And and I'm like, "That's good, cuz, but in my opinion, y'all should have been listening." That's not a pot shot at my cousin. I'm just glad she woke up. A lot of y'all need to wake up. But I know it takes time, but time is something that we don't have right now because we're always getting caught with our pants down. And that has to stop. We have to start looking at the bigger picture. We are a nation. We have to act like a nation. And so with all of our people that are out here working these jobs and whatnot, they're going to lose their life. They're going to contract this virus. These are your essential workers. I know when you look at the news, the majority of the time, they're only showing you white folks. That's basically what you see. You'll see a few specks of people of color, of brown people, yellow people, black people. Or most of the time, they're showing you people of color. I mean, not people of color, but, Caucasians. You ever heard that saying it's a white man's world? Well, it's their media. They're going to put out what they want to put out. They'll give you some things to keep you from making your voice, heard as far as what you don't like, as far as what you see. They'll give you certain things to make you think that, okay, everything is balanced out, is equal out, but it's not. And with these essential workers that they show, 9 times out of 10, they're Caucasian. When they show you the scientists, the doctors and whatnot, the majority of them are Caucasian. Very rare. It's very rare that you see black scientists, black doctors. Most of the time, they'll show you Caucasians. They'll show you a few Indians, meaning those people that come from India, and they'll show you a few Asians. But you have scientists from every race. That's just like the black chick who was close to finding a cure for this shit. I haven't seen her on the news yet. How I found out about her was on Facebook. Then you have a brother, and I'm not going to call his name, but he's a naturopathic. And he's an individual, he's my go-to guy, and as well as his partner. I'm not going to call his name either. But I just saw another video that he recently put up to where he's giving testimony or a testimonial of 2 individuals, or this one particular individual that he just helped get past the coronavirus, not using Western medicine, not using conventional methods, but using traditional healing, naturopathic healing, things that come from the earth that have not been diluted, tampered with, or anything extracted from his plant source that would be considered a drug now. He is using those things to cure, or not cure, but reverse the illness, or help these people get past the illness. But these people would not be put on mainstream media. And that's because there's really no money in that, because with the things that he's using, you can grow these things yourself and heal yourself. Help your body to fight this virus. But see, with this government, if you notice, they're not trying to use natural medicine. They're constantly trying to push drugs. They're constantly trying to come up with the vaccine. They're trying to fix this whole script to the point where when they do come out with it, that since they've bombarded your mind, your thinking process, as far as someone coming along with a cure, that when they come along with this so-called cure, you'll be more susceptible to taking it, because they've been bombarding you with this information every time you cut on the TV to look at the news. We're working on a cure. We're working on a vaccine. This drug right here is promising versus this drug right here. And then when they come up with it and they say, hey, it works, then you'll be more susceptible to take that. But now what you got to look at is, number one, it's a drug. And with every drug, there are always harmful side effects. Do you have harmful side effects with certain herbal supplements? Yeah, but not like with medicine, not like with something that has been extracted from its original source and isolated, and then you use it to try to heal the body. That's not how things work. But that's what this video was about, man. I know I went into different other areas as far as this conversation is concerned, but I think I still kind of stuck to my topic as far as the essential workers are concerned. We need to give them praise because they're putting their life on the line so that we can keep doing the things that we need to do as a society. But the blue collar worker is always overlooked. And then, like I said before, that's not to say that the doctors, the scientists, and the nurses do not matter. All of these people matter. If you're doing a job that provides a service that helps someone to stay on this planet, that helps them to live a lifestyle that they want to live, that's an essential job. Some are probably more important than others, but who am I to say what's essential and what's non-essential? It may not make sense to me, but in the eyes of the individual, to them, it's an essential part of their livelihood. It's an essential part of that individual who works that job, and it helps to put money in their pocket, money in their bank account, food on the table, and it helps them to pay their bills. So, you know, we got to give them praise, man. We got to give them support, and that's the only way that these people are going to get past this horrific ordeal that we're going through, because I don't see an end in sight right now, especially with them opening up the businesses that they're opening up now. I think it's too soon. I think it's too early. But it doesn't matter what I think, because I don't have the power to change that, at least not yet. And, you know, those are the things that we're dealing with. So, you know, that's the reason why I wanted to put this video out, man. I know I stayed on a little longer than what I had planned, but, you know, I'm going to go ahead and end it now. But before I do end, I do want you guys to look out for this video that I am going to drop. And this is stemming from a debate that I got into on a friend of mine, on a friend's page. And the topic was more or less dealing with what you've been seeing on social media for the past couple of days. And that's these memes about Donald Trump and the statement that he made about using disinfectants to cure the COVID-19 pandemic. I made a statement on that particular post saying that what he said was not dumb, that you need to go back and study what he said. I am not in support of Trump. I don't give a fuck about any politicians. I'm a man of science. I do not have a degree. I've been studying science for a while. I got into it because my father was a lab technician. So a lot of things I learned from my dad, even though people didn't know that I knew a lot of this stuff, because I never talked about it. And when I was in school, you know, I was one of them kids that I didn't do my work. I had bad grades. I did just enough to get the fuck out of grade school. Education did not mean that much to me during that particular time. But, you know, I'm gonna make that video soon, and you know, I'll get into the meat of what I was trying to convey to these people that did not understand what I was trying to get at. So be looking out for that video, and, you know, until then, you guys stay safe. Y'all know how I do. I salute you. Peace. And until the next video, you know, you guys be good.